Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this regular meeting of council to order Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, 6 p.m. Town Hall, St. Mary's. We are broadcasting live on the Town of St. Mary's YouTube channel. The Council for the Town of St. Mary's acknowledges with gratitude and respect that we are gathering on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee people of the Longhouse, giving thanks for all creation. I'll begin this evening by asking for declarations of pecuniary interest, starting with Councillor Craigmile.
None.
Councillor Edney.
None.
Councillor Luna.
None.
Councillor Lucas.
None.
Councillor Pridham.
None.
Councillor Allward.
None.
And I have none. The agenda was circulated. Are there any errors or omissions, problems with the agenda? Seeing none, I'll seek a motion that the October 28, 2025 regular council meeting agenda be accepted as presented. Someone willing to move that moved by Councillor Craigmile, seconder. Councillor Allward. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Item number 4 is the public input period. I've received nothing. I'll just check with the clerk. Were there anything received today by email? No? Okay, well, she'll move on to item 5, which is delegations presentations. We have 3 members associated with the library this evening to come and present. Our librarian, Sarah Andrews, Jennifer Cronsberry, who works with the Friends of the Library, and the chair of the library board, Cole Atlin. So welcome and thank you to you all for taking the time to come and present this evening. Sarah, I'll turn it over to you, please.
Oh, thank you. Through the mayor. Council, it's very nice to be before you tonight. With me, as the mayor mentioned, is our board chair, Cole Atlin, but also a member of our new fundraising advisory committee, Jen Cronsbury. So thanks to both of them for joining me. We've come before you tonight to just present to you the next logical step in the development on 14 Church. So as council is exploring the options of the next phase of understanding what that project will look like and some costing, the library board has stepped forward and has offered to initiate a fundraising advisory committee. Our committee has met twice. Our most recent meeting was last night, and the committee is going to oversee some strategic work on behalf of a capital campaign committee to get them started. So we've started to put together terms of reference for both our committee as well as the actual capital campaign committee. We've been looking at some policy, and we've also begun some conversations about what tools our group will need to have a successful capital campaign. The capital campaign amount and committee work will officially begin on November 27th, when we are inviting members of the community who feel that strongly about this project and would like to be our champions to really make this project move forward. We invite them to a meeting at the library at 6:30, and at that committee we will start to make a plan about a multi-year capital campaign to raise some money to support this project. As has been discussed at the meetings when 14 Church was brought forward, we want to lessen the amount on the tax burden as much as possible. So that's the way this committee is going to lend to the town's development of this. I see that my screen is freezing. Am I freezing for you? Nope.
Okay, good, Sarah. Yeah,
Excellent.
you're doing great.
Okay. Wasn't sure. I didn't want that to happen. So that's where we're at, and we will be communicating to the community to join us through the newspaper, through our social media, through posters, and we're hoping that both the town and the Friends of the Library will push out our invitations as well, so that we can maximize the number of community members that are aware this project is moving to the next level, but also to invite them to participate. The Financial Advisory Committee is made up of members of the library board, as well as Friends of the Library. But we're hoping that the capital campaign will represent a wide and diverse group of members from the community. So representing our businesses, our even regionally, because we of course have that contract with Pursouth, We're hopeful that some members of Perth County and Perth South may step forward and be part of this. Our our education, potentially teachers and principals who teach in the school area, retired members, and members who also use the other services that have already identified they're looking for extra space. So members of the Friendship Center, the museum, recreation programs. We're hopeful that this message speaks to many members of St. Mary's who would like to see this project come to fruition. Cole, Jen, did you want to, either of you wish to share anything before we open up for questions?
No, my son Victor joined, and he's going to be one of the people who benefit from this space. So it's good that apologies for any faces he made, but I think it's what we critically have to think about is long term. How can we all support the success of expanding cultural services, library services, other services in our community? And the library board is committed to making that happen, and we're working through Sarah's working like a Trojan to get this thing moving. So anyways, we're thankful for the opportunity. We're thankful for the opportunity to have the 14 church space and make it sort of more of the expand the community's living room, so to speak. So happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll turn now to council. Any questions from council? Councilor Craigmile?
Thank you. It's not necessarily a question, it's more, I know the previous term when I was on the library board, we did talk about some sort of capital campaign just to get things off the ground for future expansions, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's a very positive step that you're taking. I'm glad to see that you've got it off the ground and you're working on getting somewhere. If I can, I don't know that I'm saying anything here that may help you, but there has been other capital campaigns run inside the town, and there's various people with lots of experience and may be able to give you a heads up or some direction, and it may be worth reaching out to them, those individuals.
Through the mayor, yes, thank you, Councillor Craigmile. We've already had some really productive conversations with a member of the hospital auxiliary, a previous member. We've had a chat about the fundraising that was done around the PRC. I've reached out to the fundraiser who works for the Guelph Public Library. They had a goal of raising 3.5 million for their new central library, and they've raised 7. She's been very forthcoming with information for us about, documents we need to have in place, ways to reach out to donors, donor agreements, processes. And she was very hopeful that with some community members coming forward and with the information we have, we could take a really good kick at this campaign. So we are excited to launch it. We're also, very open to council providing me with ideas of recommended committee members, potential donors, and any best practices that you've witnessed that you think would be effective for us. Please, if you can take the time to reach out, I'm very open to hearing from you. So thank you.
Just to build on that, we do know that you folks talk to lots of people in your day-to-day. And if there are people that you run into who would be interested, we really would love if you could advocate for them to reach out or connect us with them, because we're really looking to get as many people in the community involved in the capital campaign as much as possible, and really make it a community driven, which is why Jen is on. She's taken a role in that, and have the library be part of this, but really make it like a community driven process. So we're hoping you guys can be community connectors for us.
Okay, thank you. If there's nothing else, then I just want to say thank you for the report, Sarah, and thank you to you both, Jen and Cole, for taking a leadership position. Council is very grateful to see this project move ahead, so we We're grateful to the library board and the Friends of the Library and those on the committee that are willing to stick their neck out a bit and push this project forward. Thank you very much for your leadership. Okay, thank you for the delegation tonight. So the suggested motion would be that LIB 32-2025 New Community Commons Capital Fundraising Campaign Report be received for information. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Alward, second by Councillor Luna. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you all for this evening.
Thank you.
Moving on then, we have 2 sets of minutes that were printed, October 14th and October 21st. Any errors or omissions, problems with those minutes? If there's nothing, I'll seek a motion that the following meeting minutes be approved by council: October 14th, 2025, regular council, and October 21st, 2025, special council. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Edney, seconded. Councillor Alward. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. I have nothing under correspondence unless something came in, so we'll move on to reports. The first one being 8.1 with regards to administration. Mr. Kittmer, please.
Okay, so thank you, Your Worship. So Council, just a couple of quick updates from my report. We just heard about the 14 Church Street project, and I also wanted to speak to our 90 Carling Street project. So the mayor and I did have an informal meeting with the MPP just to discuss if there were funding envelopes that might be available for either of those 2 projects. On the 14 Church Street Community Hub, there really is no current funding envelope in the budget today. He did encourage us to look at funding streams that where co-location of social services and things like Ontario Works, and especially in skills and training might qualify. We have looked into it, and I'm not certain we fully qualify under that. For 90 Carling Street, there's nothing that's specific to a serviced industrial park that exists today. However, if we can make a tie between this project and housing, we may be able to have some funding under the Housing Enabling Water Fund or Wastewater Fund. So I do have staff looking at scoping at a project that might tie in portions of 90 Carling Street under that funding envelope. Although the MPP did say that the fall economic statement is set to come out soon, and that there will be more funding decisions, or funding announcements in that economic statement. So we'll have to have a look at that as well. So really, I think the message there is that whereas there was, several years ago, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, there was lots of funding programs. There's fewer now, both federally and provincially, and we'll just be opportunistic as we see them come forward. Transportation needs assessment, I just wanted to quickly discuss that as well. We're going to push back the project by about a month and have a final report to council in January. It doesn't really compromise our position in any way, because the draft budget does include monies to CPC Connect through the end of next year if we wish, or implement transportation needs assessment. I think, as I said at the budget meeting, our transportation engineer is very interested in this project and spent more time on route design than he expected, just because of pure interest. So it's delayed him a bit. We'd also like to have a conversation with St. Mary's Mobility about their role in any future solutions in St. Mary's. And so we have that meeting on Friday, and I think it'll be important to have all of that information for a final report. Finally, just something kind of interesting and fun, in terms of community outreach, we've always been challenged by the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan to do more in terms of educating our public about services that exist and what we can do to help others. So the community outreach worker has been working on something fun with our communications department, and they have short videos coming out that we'll publish through social media. And it really is a day in the life of a community outreach worker. And so she's showing just different aspects of her job. I got to watch the first one, and it is actually quite, probably unintentionally comedic, but I understand why we do videos now, because it's engaging, it captures your attention, and it's actually highly informative. Before I take questions, I was going to ask Jenna to speak to one portion of her report related to the municipal election, because we are now officially less than 1 year away from the election, and she's already actively planning.
Council, basically to reiterate what was just shared with you, we are actively planning for what looks ahead for you in 2026, with council meetings, as well as how the election and key dates of the election will play into that, and then also what committee meeting dates will look like. So we'll be reporting at your next regular council meeting, which is November the 25th, recognizing once again that there will be no meeting on November the 11th. So just at the end of November, we'll bring that forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? All right, so then I'll put a motion on the floor that admin 49-2025 October monthly report, administration report be received. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Craigmile, second by Councillor Lucas. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Next up is item 8.2 with regards to a proclamation request from Ms. McCartney, please.
And Council, this is the first time you're seeing a request like this from ShelterLink. They have identified that it is Youth Homelessness Awareness Day on November the 17th. They have put forward the request that that date be proclaimed as such in St. Mary's. If you support that through your recommendation tonight and then therefore your resolution, we'll make sure that that information is shared through social media. We'll connect up with any promotion that is happening with ShelterLink during that time as well. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions with regards to the proclamation? Okay. All right, I'll put a motion on the floor then that admin 50-2025 proclamation request for Youth Homelessness Awareness Day report be received, and the council proclaim November 17th, 2025 as Youth Homelessness Awareness Day in St. Mary's. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Pridham, second Councillor Edney. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you, Jenna. Moving on to corporate services. I believe Mr. Kittner is going to give the report, please.
So I am truly just a steward of the department, and so I'll do my best to answer any detailed questions if there are any, but I may have to circle back. But I did think there was some interesting information shared by each of the staff in the individual portfolios. So in terms of communications, communications is now actively planning for the opening of the pool. And I don't, hopefully I don't speak over top of Stephanie in any way, but I know communications staff and aquatic staff are trying to come up with creative ways and creative campaigns to make sure that when the pool is opened, people are aware and we can attract back all the patronage that we'd had a year ago. So we should see that, we should see more information on that and again, more activity on social media and through the paper once the pool is actually opened. In terms of finance, just two things. So as I'm sure Council is not surprised to hear, Spencer is working, continuing to work on the budget and make sure that we wrap everything up from last week. And that is consuming a lot of his time. But you will note in the report that we are now actively working with our finance provider to have paperless billing as it relates to tax bills. So it would be a cost savings measure, and it would be again a way to modernize our service and make sure that people get this get their bills efficiently, and we can avoid things like the delays from postal strikes and whatnot in the future. And lastly, I just want to share in tourism and economic development. I do believe that we had shared a little bit about the fact that we have a partnership now where we're purchasing data from RTO4, and that's the geofencing data where they ping your phone and they can talk, we can figure out who's in our community, not who's in our community, but where people in our community came from and where the destinations they've gone to in our community. So we're in the midst of running a report for the Water Street South Corridor, trying to sort out what the most frequented locations are between, say, the tennis courts and the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, as well as the quarry, where individuals are coming from, then also where in our community they're going from there as well. So having that, we've just found that having that data really helps us understand whether our strategies are working, into what markets they're working the best. And then once we know where they're going in our community, I guess if we know they're going in our community after that fact, that would be helpful because we don't know that today. And then understanding where they're going, and we'd like to go and talk to those individuals and find out if they're marketing themselves or if it's our marketing that's actually pushing the tourism and then the travel within our community. Lastly, downtown beautification plan. You heard about this project last week in the budget, and now that it's formalized, I know that Mr. Kelly and Ms. Deeks will be going to the BIA just to present the 10-year plan to the BIA as well. So that's all I have for corporate services.
Okay, thank you. Any questions with regards to corporate services or with regards to the budget process? Councillor Edney?
Thank you, through your worship. I just wanted to say that it's kind of thrilling to see the analytics and the being used the way they are now through marketing, because it's previously always just been hunch, and now we have actual data, and we're using it. It's fantastic.
I think the true testament to that was the report that was attached to last month's monthly report just about the Heritage Festival, where we finally had information about. We always kind of wondered about the Heritage Festival. Is it a festival for us, or is it a festival for everybody outside of the town? And we realized very quickly it's a festival for us, and we could actually start having real data to understand how people come to the location, where they go from there. It is really important data. So it's a little bit difficult to manipulate and render into a report. It takes a very specific skill set, but we're definitely working on that. And once we have, I'm really excited about the Water Street South and the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame data, because I think it's going to show us a lot. Those are two tourism engines right now, and I think we really like to know where we're drawing from primarily.
And I think will help with investment in the future, actually. I think that the proper plan can be presented to council to make investment actually on the potential of the Water Street project. Further questions? Okay, thank you for your report. The suggested motion is that COR 36-2025, October monthly report, corporate services report be received. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Pridham, seconded Councillor Edney. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Moving on to 8.4, which is the monthly report for building and development. Mr. Brower's on the line, please.
Good evening, Council. You'll see my report presented in front of you. A couple points that I want to kind of highlight in the point within my report. One of them is we were starting the tailgate, or getting our tailgate online for December. So that date has been set. As Council knows, it's a very sought after engagement that we do have with their development community. So that is underway, and there will be one in early December. Secondly, it is not on the list, but we had to push a planning applications in the last little while. We're currently dealing with 4 planning applications, 1 from PAC and 3 for Committee of Adjustment, that council, or not council, but the committee as well as Plan Advisory Committee are going to see before Christmas. So still lots going on as far as the planning side. I know Your Worship, you brought it up during budget. What's the building side looking like? Yes, building is down a bit, but there's lots of infill going on, lots of items going on the planning side. Usually what's happened on the planning side is a good gauge of what's going to happen on the building side in the near future. I'll with any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you for that report. Questions from council? Councillor Lucas.
Thank you, through the mayor. Grant, I was just looking, I thought that chart you included in the agenda package was good, just with different renovations and number of vendors and low bids. And I was shocked at the variation in those bids and what we had budgeted. Do you feel like you're getting quality contractors bidding on things and people are just slow, and that's why some of these prices were so much lower? Or what's the rate? Like the childcare stood out to me that it was budgeted for 25 and it came in at 5,500 with 17 vendors. So what's your thought on, or what are you seeing out there, I guess?
So through Your Worship, Councillor Lucas, we put this chart in there to kind of help give council a gauge of projects, because there's really no follow-up on kind of what we do as far as once we release projects and stuff like that. And so this gives a good snapshot of kind of what's happening. So thanks for picking up on that, Councillor Lucas. The reason that we're seeing generally painting projects are coming in much lower, and what we're seeing is that people are traveling very far distances, 2+, 3+ hours, to take on, not only to bid on projects, but to take projects. We're starting to see a lot of companies come in through the GTA that are coming here and bidding on projects and undercutting quite a bit of a lot of the other trades. That's generally what we're seeing. When we're dealing about, for example, when you take a look at the salt shed roof replacement, again, less than half. Is it some of it that we need to tweak up on our pricing? Maybe that's part of it, but we are getting good pricing as far as everything coming in, which is good for us, because it makes things a lot easier when it does come in the budget. But generally the work, the quality is there. We are kind of astute to kind of what's going on to make sure that we have that oversight to make sure that the work is happening, especially with the contractors that are traveling some distance, because generally it's a little more challenge to get them back to do those fix-ups or to do those touch-ups. So we want to make sure that before they leave and their last day there, the last few days there, that we're talking to them about deficiency lists and make sure that they're done before they leave. So
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? All right, thanks for your report, Grant. So the suggested motions that DEV 29-2025 October monthly report, building development report be received. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councilor Pridham, second by Councilor Alward. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Next up, 8.5 with regards to the zoning bylaw project. Mr. Brower, please.
thank you, Worship. You'll see a report for toward the RFP for the zoning bylaw project. We had seven bidders, very tight bidding. We were surprised how tight the bidding was. Of all the projects, there's 3 people that reviewed the project or reviewed each of the RFPs, 3 staff, along with our consultant, Mr. Stone. And based on the score, based on the projects, based on proposals, any of the 7 would do a good job with what they proposed. Based on when we start to split hairs, so to speak, within that, MPG was came out atop. They provided a good service, they're going to provide good service with the amount of meetings they're going to have and interaction that they're going to be providing. One of the things that's key to this project that is done within the year, because of, as Mr. Kittmer alluded to earlier, there is an election coming up within that year. We want to make sure this project is done prior to the election taking place. So once the project is awarded, we're going to be on the ground running, so to speak, to make sure that that staff does support this successful proponent to make sure that we can meet those timelines. So open it up for any questions.
Great, thank you. Questions from council? Okay, if there are no questions, then I'll put the motion on the floor then. Thank you for that, Grant. The DEV 31-2025 zoning bylaw project RFP report be received, and that council awards the zoning bylaw project to NPG Planning Solutions, Inc. for the proposed price of $91,338.01 inclusive of taxes, and the council approves a project contingency of $17,747.30 for a total project upside limit of $100,000. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councilor Pridham, second by Councilor Alward. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Okay.
Thank you, Council.
Okay, thanks, Grant. Up next is Community Services. Ms. Ishii.
Good evening. All right, a little update on our community services to date. So we're well into our fall season now with our programs. We have our ice in, our programs are operational, but the one thing that I wanted to highlight is the aquatics update. So the Aquatics Center update, the scaffolding has been removed. And then there was an area, a 1-foot strip spanning the width of the pool that will be replaced. That work is going to begin tomorrow. There will be a 2-week curing period for that, and then we can put water in the pool. So that work was one of the last items that we were waiting for, that we didn't have a timeline on that. So the HVAC issue that we spoke about before, there has been a resolution. That work has been completed. So that is also completed. They've been polishing the stainless steel, and the cleaners have been busy in there doing some cleaning. So this is a construction clean that Elgin will complete prior to us doing a full clean upon opening. There's still a lot of little things that need to happen that are going to take time. So we have a meeting tomorrow with Elgin to hopefully get a better timeline, as the project consultant has requested a new schedule from Elgin and we've not yet received that. So hopefully after tomorrow's meeting, we'll have a better timeline on what's with the pool will be opening. So I will open the floor for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Ms. Ishii with regards to community services? Councilor Allard?
Thanks, Your Worship. Ms. Ishii, I was curious, how are we doing for lifeguard recruitment? Have we seen a lot of applications?
We're doing really well for lifeguard recruitment. So our next step, Andrea has completed along with HR, our lifeguard recruitment, and we're going to be doing training. So once we get the water in the pool, we're going to be training our new guard team prior to opening. So we've done very well, and we have also secured a daytime lifeguard as well. So we're in good shape.
Good to hear.
Okay, that's good news. Okay, anything further? Councillor Edney?
Thank you, through your worship. Stephanie, just for the public's sake, just to say this at this meeting. So the water will go in 2 weeks, but then if I remember correctly, it has to sit for another week. Is that correct? We don't want to give out a date just yet, but
no.
we're looking at
So-
at least 3 weeks, right?
So we're looking at least 3 weeks,
Okay.
absolutely, probably closer to 4 or 5 weeks. So I don't want to give an exact date at this point. Once it does cure, then the water does go in. It has to sit for 2 weeks, where the HVAC has to be completed at that point. We have to make sure everything is okay, and then it'll be another 2 weeks. So yes, I'm not going to give a timeline. Hopefully I'll have more information for council tomorrow. And like I said, there's a lot of little tiny things that you just need to get completed before we can open as well. So
Thanks, Stephanie.
you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? All right, thanks for that report. So the suggested motion that DCS 56-2025 October monthly report community services be received for information. Someone move that. Councillor Edney moves, seconded Councillor Lucas. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Next up is a report regarding swimming quarry services. Stephanie, please.
Yes. So this next report outlines the available options for the next step for the quarry when the current lease with Super Splash ends next October 2026. So in 2022, Super Splash did begin with us, and as council knows, because I've brought a lot of reports forward, we have seen an increase in foot traffic by 10,000 people annually. We are drawing lots of people to the area, and things have been very, very successful. In 2024, staff presented to council with a review of our current operations and full management at an in-camera meeting. In addition to this, Ontario Adventure Parks did come and had an opportunity and wanted to ask about an opportunity to bid on an inflatable at a future time at the quarry. So at the December 10th meeting last year, council had asked that I do come back with further options and what we might be looking at moving forward when Super Splash's contract comes to an end. So Super Splash's contract does have one more year. It does expire in October of 2026, so 1 year from now. With that in mind, we did sit down with the owners of Super Splash and approach them to what their intentions would be moving forward. At this time, the owner would like to renew his agreement and continue to operate this amenity for the foreseeable future. So that is what he had told us during our meeting. So after careful review, we sat back and we looked at all of our options, and I have listed out 3 options for council based on our in-camera that we had last year and what our options are going forward. So option 1 is to renew the existing Super Splash contract. What that would be is we would renew it with new upgraded terms based on how we know how it's been working for the past number of years. We would need to look at how much he is paying for his existing lease. There's a lot of things we would look at. That lease would come back to council for final approval as well, but that is what we're looking at as option 1. Option 2 would be once the contract has ended, send out RFP for a competitive process. So under this option, we would release an RFP and look for a provider to provide an inflatable. However, as I had presented last December and knowing how well our relationship is, transitioning to a new provider does introduce risks. Our current partnership and strong synergies has worked really well for us. Our day-to-day management flows seamlessly. Our guard team works very well, and a change in operations could disrupt many of these efficiencies. So we don't want to create more challenges. However, this is an option. While an RFP is a fair and transparent option, it may not be the best route at this time, as we have Super Splash wishing to remain with us. Excuse me. Our third option is to buy our own inflatable. So under this option, the town would wait until our existing inflatable contract ends, and then we would look at securing our own inflatable for the park. While acquiring and operating our town-owned inflatable water park could provide greater control over programming and community benefit, there would be a capital outlay for this existing new equipment that we would need to purchase. There could be some additional risks because we don't know what that would look like if we were managing it long-term. So at this current time, staff don't recommend moving in that direction. However, we would continue to say that we would like to renew the existing contract with Super Splash. Keeping in mind, we would have a new contract. We would look at the exact amount of money he's paying, look at all of those options as well moving forward. So that is, in a nutshell, the report. I will open it for questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions from council? Councilor Pridham.
Just a thought, thank you through your worship, just a thought on the amounts of money that we've had to invest in that location because of Super Splash within our budget now. We've got the new sheds for change rooms and different sorts of things. So when you're looking at negotiating the contract, keep in mind that we've also invested and maybe the opportunity to recoup some of that within the next contract. And that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a great, we've actually talked a lot about that. So very, very valid point. And I mean, there could be a capital contribution piece added within the contract as well. We've looked at that. We'll look at various models, but we will bring them before council before we approve anything.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Pridham. Anything further from council? Councilor Alward.
Thanks, Your Worship. I guess I was just curious as to, in your vision, Steph, how long would you say the next contract should be?
So that will be dependent upon council. Typically, a lot of these contracts are anywhere between 3 and 5 years is what I have typically done, even with our lease agreements. I wouldn't want to go any more than a 5-year agreement. Sometimes if they're too short, you're just renewing agreements and it's a lot more work than it's worth. I would recommend a 5-year agreement. However, if council wanted a shorter term, we could look at that as well. It's not a deal breaker at the end of the day, but I would typically recommend a 5-year agreement.
Okay, anything further from council? All right, thank you for the report then. So the suggested motions that DCS 55-2025 Swimming Quarry Services report be received and that council directs staff to proceed with negotiating an updated lease agreement with Super Splash at the end of the current contract, ensuring enhanced terms. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councilor Alward, seconded Councilor Edney. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you. Moving on to emergency services. Chief West, please.
Through your mayor, proud to submit our emergency services report. A few highlights: 4 firefighters hit the 2-year mark milestone. Have a couple lieutenants that are about to hit in November the 10-year milestone. So the association always gives them a 10-year ring, so it's something that they always look forward to when they're getting into year 7, 8, 9 to get their ring. So that'll be happening shortly. We're working on hiring another firefighter to replace with Andy leaving and me taking the role, and Deputy Fire Chief Ryan Taylor moving up. So we're hiring a firefighter, and then we'll have to hire a captain to replace Deputy Fire Chief Taylor's position. So we're working on that. Fire Prevention Week went extremely well. We had a lot of buy-in from the firefighters, so we're able to add a couple exciting new things to our normal routine. So we had an extrication demonstration that we had a lot of people out in the parking lot watching that, and we had an attack line for the first time that we could gear it down to low pressure to high pressure depending on the individual, and not too high a pressure, but we kept things safe. A firefighter was always at the end with them, and it was something neat. So we're able to expand on past years. It was well attended, good weather. It looked like we were going to have a a rainy day, but it cleared up for us. So other than that, we were at the grocery store. That went well. The whole week went well. We were busy with our rib and pigtail dinner. So it was a busy week. We got it done. Attendance for our calls is back up. We averaged 16. As you can see in the report, our calls for the year 133 versus 118 last year. Fire prevention wise, we're moving ahead. We're trying to target places we haven't been for a while. So Chris and I kind of talk regularly, and I kind of suggest hitting the businesses down this street. When was the last time? So we're hitting a lot of places we hadn't hit for a while. So he's doing a really great job there. We're following up with any complaints. There's one complaint for the month. A few safety concerns we're finding, some routine inspections. He's working hard with some businesses right now to improve the situation and to be compliant. Events, there's a big list, as you can see in my report. We did the water games in Mitchell. There's a couple mutual aid meetings we attended. We assisted getting Legion banners up. I mentioned the pigtail dinner. We were at the grocery store, and of course the open house we talked about. So it's been pretty busy. The chaplain, as you can see, the chaplain attached his report. He hadn't given a report for a while, so he's been busy with the peer support group, the buddy systems, one-on-one meetings, supporting our team, helping with events, a photographer for training in many sessions, our open house. And it's something I got to look into. We were looking at, I don't know if it ever went to council, but he had done a report on cumulative stressors, PTSD. So I have to look into that, whether that was ever submitted to council for approval. Just basically a guideline to look after cumulative stressors in the fire service.
Okay, thank you for that report. Any questions from council? Councillor Craigmile.
Thank you, Worship. Chief, I had one question, and it's really regarding the fire prevention. Do we routinely, like on an annual basis, look at vacant buildings in the downtown core? Or at what frequency would they be looked at? Because I think it could be very important.
Through the mayor, Councilor Craigmile, that's a great point. We are playing catch up right now, but I'm glad you brought that up. That's something definitely that we have to try to, I guess, through the building department, get contact with the owners of those facilities and get in there to see what risks might be in there, and to see what sort of materials that might be stored in those buildings. So I'm glad you brought that forward. That's a great idea.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Councillor Alward?
Thanks, Your Worship. Just building off of what Councillor Craigmile's asked there, if you have like difficulty or an unwillingness in terms of contact with those business owners, what happens then? Is there a notice on you to just go in there anyway, or do you just leave it as is?
Through Your Worship, to Councillor Alward, basically the fire service does have a pretty good authority. If there's suspicion that there's a danger there, that we can get into the building to check it out. So I think probably through the building department and stuff, that won't be an issue. We'll just contact the building owners and we'll be able to get in. I don't see that being too much of a challenge.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? All right, thank you for the report. By the looks of the report, the department's been very busy, so that's
Yes.
great, thank you. So the suggested motion is that FD 12-2025 October monthly report emergency services be received for information. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Alward, second by Councillor Pridham. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you, Chief West.
Your worship, thanks, council.
Moving on to item 8.9, which is Human Resources Monthly Report. Ms. Necto, please.
Thank you, Mayor Strathy. For some reason, my computer is on delay. So if something happens, you don't hear me, whatever, maybe just wave or something. Okay. So I just wanted to talk briefly about a statistic. On the report, I have indicated that at this time last year, we had posted 47 roles, and this year it's 58. So that's approximately a 23% increase. That's quite a bit of recruiting for those of you that have been involved in recruiting here or anywhere else. So just wanted to give you that, and also share another statistic, which is that in that same period, the individuals that have left the organization, 90% have left for promotions. And the reason I'm pointing that out this evening is that we've discussed this before, that career advancement is a good thing and it's very positive. But at the same time, we also want to be able to provide promotions and career advancement opportunities here at the town. And the reason I'm explaining this specifically is that if you look at the report, you'll see on the report examples of that. So you'll see that there are 2 internal postings listed under new in September, and also a note that an internal posting went live earlier in the month for the Director of Cultural Services, Tourism and Economic Development. So just wanted to share that with Council this evening as a positive step in terms of retention. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the report.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Councillor Luna.
Thank you, Worship. Jennifer, the AEDs that you've installed, are you doing training for staff with those machines, or what's happening with, you're not just putting them on the wall and leaving them, are you, or?
No, so actually, that was an initiative through the Health and Safety Committee, and the facility manager, Ray, has taken that on and had them installed, and he's training the staff. There isn't a ton of training, I will say that. They're pretty easy to follow. The instructions are there. The ones that I've used in the past, you press a button to test, but when you're actually using them, they talk to you, so it's fairly self-explanatory.
Okay, thank you. Further questions? All right, thank you for your report. So the suggested motion is that HR 14-2025 October monthly report, Human Resources report be received for information. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Craigmile, seconded. Councillor Lucas. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moving on to Public Works. Mr. Kelly, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just looking at the monthly report really quickly, we're just working through our fall shutdowns and then conversion to winter operations. We did include the update from BRA from the ICI. That was the update that Councillor Craigmile gave us at the budget session, but that's basically just another update so staff's aware. So we do a council report back, but that'll be later in 26. Once we know those costs and the locations. I'm going to let BRA sort through that. The Plus A sidewalk is scheduled. We had a meeting with Nicholson Concrete. So we're expecting mobilization next week or the week after, start November there, somewhere in there. But it should be completed before the end of the year. The Elgin Street reconstruction is complete. There are some deficiencies, and top coat will come in 2026. The asphalt resurfacing is largely complete. Once again, we do owe council a report back. That'll probably be later in the year or in early 2026, just on a project summary report back. And then something new for today, we did receive word that there's a donor that is going to donate lighting for the Green Bridge. So 600 feet of white rope lighting that'll give us a silhouette of the bridge. They're going to purchase the lighting, and then it'll be installed on the bridge. They're going to cover that cost for 2025. And then we do owe council a report back on the Winter Lights program as a whole. Just basically kind of where we're at, cost to date, and then the service level. And then we can deliberate whether that becomes a permanent addition to the program. And then other than that, I'm open for any questions.
Okay, thank you for your report. Questions from council? Councilor Craigmile.
Thank you, Worship. So Jed, I've had, I noticed in your report under Public Works Operations, you've got down there sinkhole and pothole repairs. If I've heard of any one complaint from the public in the last couple weeks, it's all about that repair job. I think it's on Queen Street east down close to Dollarama, where there's that big dip and everybody bottoming out there. And the question is that going to be fixed before winter?
Yeah, through the worship. So we've been talking to Fraser's. You're talking the sanitary lateral repair by Brock Street there, right?
Yeah, something up in there.
Yeah, so the plan will be to have that fixed before winter. We do have our asphalt patching contractor lined up for that one. Yeah, so we are planning to have that restored before the winter. I know it has taken a while, but that is the plan, to have it done before the snow flies, the next few weeks.
Thank you. At least I'll now be able to answer the question.
Okay, thank you. Further questions? All right, thank you. So the suggested motion is that PW 58-2025 October monthly report, Public Works report, be received. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Alward, second by Councillor Lucas. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Moving on to 8.11, Queen Street West Culvert Tender Award. Mr. Kelly, please.
Thank you, Worship. So this is a tender award for culvert replacement on Queen Street West. As we work through those stormwater ECA inspections, this is something that was uncovered. There's a culvert on Queen Street West near the beer store, I guess. The culvert is failing. It's in critical need of replacement. We are monitoring it, but we would like to proceed with the replacement immediately. If council approves the award tonight, we'll have to start working backwards through the project schedule. We would obviously order the precast tomorrow, engage the contractor, and then start working out a construction schedule. The plan is to have a 20-day construction window, so in and out in 20 days. Once we get awarded and we have a construction schedule, Jeff wanted to engage a contractor to see if the actual closure could be limited to maybe about half that. We'd hopefully have one lane for 10 days, and then there would be a section due to the water main replacement and the hydro and the cranes that we would have to have a complete closure for probably 10 days. But we don't know those details 100% until we have the contractor engaged and have a construction schedule. Right now, conceptually, we'd probably have it open. Hopefully we'd have it open before Christmas. And then we would have a temporary sacrificial asphalt sidewalk and road surface for the winter, and then that would get replaced in the spring. Is there any questions about this?
Okay, questions? Councillor Lucas.
Thank you, through the mayor. Yeah, Jed, you hit on a few points there for me. My concern was starting this project this late is a bit scary, knowing how the availability of asphalt comes. And just in our last couple of projects, I'm concerned that we've got a contractor that's engaged and understands timelines. So those are to me, those are two key points, but it sounds like you've got them addressed in what you said, but I'd be really concerned that we don't, that we have a contractor that doesn't show up. And again, I've got no history or understanding of this contractor, but the name was new, so I would just say, I think it's on us to be prudent to make sure that a construction schedule is maintained, because we're coming into a bad time of year as well. So it sounds like you've got that, but I just want to make people aware of that.
Yeah, and sorry, through your worship, Councilor Lucas, I certainly share that sentiment. I also start to twitch when the leaves drop and we're starting to put excavators in roads. I'm not the oldest, but I have been around long to know this is a bad idea. But I think we should stress that if this pipe fails, the road could be closed for months. So we don't really want to do it, but this is as soon as we could do it. So as far as we know, the contractor is keen to get going. He thinks he can adhere to the schedule. We haven't got any red flags from engineering, but yeah, there will be a push, and absolutely we'll take those sentiments to the contractor.
Jed, I just had one question. As far as, I mean, it's going to be very inconvenient for a lot of residents, but I guess the question is, are there load restrictions for trucks to go down and around Thomas Street? I mean, we all have fond memories of rocks being placed on council's desk way back in the days. It would seem to me the logical thing there will be increased truck traffic on Thomas Street. Is there any restrictions down there, or like coming in through Lemonade Springs and so forth, or will they be able to go? They're usually in the spring, but I don't know how long this will drag on and so forth. I'm just wondering if it'll become a problem for traffic trying to get into St. Mary's.
Through your worship, so officially right now, the official detour would be down 163 back to line 10 and then up James Street North to Road 130. Through via Road 130. We don't have any load restricted roads aside from the Green Bridge in town. It would come down to the county load restrictions. But we don't think, I'd have to review the county load restrictions. I'm not sure if line 10 has one or not.
Yeah, that's my concern. If we just start getting traffic going different ways, and if that becomes, we may be subject to some complaints from Thomas Street as well, because they've got used to it being quiet down there. And it would, the logical thing, if I was I don't know, even a school bus or something, I would probably prefer to go that route as opposed to all the way around the other route. And I just want to make sure that A, we can do it, and B, that we don't create traffic problems with heavy trucks or people that are trying to get around, you know, because I just comes to mind a few, you know, delivery routes in St. Mary's that might end up going that way.
Yeah, and sorry, through worship, but yeah, absolutely. Once we have it awarded, we can start the planning phase. We anticipate there's probably about a 3-week window on the precast, 2 to 3 weeks before we can get the precast on site. So we'll have to start working through those details to start banging on doors and talking to known truck recipients and things like that in the area.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that we all recognize this is a project that needs to be done, that probably should have been done sooner, and you know, there is it is a main road, so if you know there was a failure, I mean, we need to do this, period. So I mean, I think council's in a position to support you. We just want to make sure that there is enough communication and everyone understands, because there will be significant inconvenience for some people.
Absolutely, Your Worship, and I need to stress that again. This is a priority project. If we had our preference, we wouldn't do it this time of year. We do it with more notice and more planning, but the culvert has failed, and we're afraid that it would fail throughout the winter.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anything further from council? Councilor Craig Mao?
Thank you, Worship. So, Jed, when this proceeds, or maybe you already have, discussion with the fire chief is probably extremely important.
Yeah, through Your Worship, as we proceed through the project, absolutely, we'll be in discussion with Chief West. Like I said, we are trying to minimize the days. We're hoping that we can get a single lane as much as possible, depending on the scope of the work. So you will have the wigwams, the temporary signaling to cue the traffic. But yeah, we absolutely will have to maintain good communication with the fire department.
Okay, anything further? All right, thank you for that report. So the suggested motion is that PW 57-2025 Queen Street West Culvert Tender Award report be received, and the council awards the Queen Street West Culvert Replacement Project to Nicholas Excavating Inc. for the tender price of $597,935.10, inclusive of taxes and contingencies. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Alward, second by Councillor Pridham. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Up next, item 8.12 with regards to winter sand procurement. Mr. Kelly, please.
Thank you, Worship. So staff is seeking approval for a sole source award to Boston and McCann to restock the salt shed. So this is a washed sand product that is pickled with salt to prevent freezing. Depending on the winter that we see, potentially this amount would last us 2 to 4 seasons. As I've noted in the report, we are asking for a sole source. We have had issues in the past securing competitive bids for the service, in that Boston's is the only one that will supply a bid, and that has been historically been the way since probably going back to 2012. Sorry, the amount is in the report. We're seeking up to that amount. Obviously, we'll fill the shed up to a comfortable amount, and then we'll stop. So hopefully, we could get under that that proposed amount there. Take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions from council? Okay, seeing no questions, I'll put the motion on the floor that PW 59-2025 Winter Sand Procurement Sole Source Award report be received, and the council authorize a sole source contract with Boston's and McCann Incorporated, operating as Bosco Pool and Spa, for the purchase of winter maintenance sand for the procured price of $40,962.50, inclusive of all taxes and contingencies. I'm willing to move that motion. Moved by Councillor Lucas, second by Councillor Craigmile. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Thanks, Jed. Okay, moving on to item number 9, which is emergent or unfinished business. I have nothing. Item number 10, notices of motion. I have nothing. Item number 11, I have nothing under bylaws, which leads us to item number 12, upcoming meetings. November 18th, special council budget, and November 25th, regular council chamber mentioned for the good of council. Councillor Luna.
Thank you, Worship. Can I just remind council of the November the 19th meeting of the Perth County Association in Mitchell?
Okay, thank you for that. Anything further? Also, just wanted to mention we have 3 Remembrance Day events. They'll be operating again at the cemetery, the laying of the flags, if anyone's interested in helping with that. We have the Sunday March from the Legion as well, and of course, the town will be hosting Remembrance Day on Remembrance Day at the Cenotaph as well. Okay, anything further? Councillor Pridham?
The Sports Wall of Fame induction ceremony is on Saturday at 2 o'clock at the PRC.
Thank you for that. Okay, so our next item is closed session, so we'll take a 5-minute break before we go into closed session. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll reconvene then, and I'll seek a motion that council move into a session that's closed to the public at 7:13 PM as authorized in Municipal Act 2001 as amended Section 239 2D Labor Relations or Employee Negotiations, and K, a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. Someone willing to move that motion, moved by Councillor Edney, seconded by Councillor Luna. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? The motion's carried.